Hello and welcome to Deadline Horror News Live for the week of October 6, 2021. I'm Josh, and as always, I'm joined here with Donnie.
Hey.
And the Professor Smoke.
What's up?
Will couldn't be with us, but we are from the All-American Spookshow Horror Podcast. And of course, as always, we want to remind you to like and subscribe to the channel down there on the bottom. Click on there to subscribe and also click on the bell to be notified whenever we upload new videos. At least here throughout the month of October, we're going to be doing the Deadline Horror News live streaming here on the YouTube channels. But normally they're up on Thursdays. But either way, whether we go live or not, they will definitely be there on Thursdays. So come back here on the YouTube channel, click to be notified and everything so you won't miss a video. We want you to become a supporter of the Spook Show by going over to patreon.com/AASpookShow to sign up, become a patron. We've got levels starting at $1, $3, $5, $10, all the way up to $1,000 Spook Show Insanity level, which we want you to go over to the webpage there and check that out. So it's has to be seen to be believed. The main attraction over there, of course, is the popular segment, The Library of the Professor, where Professor Smoke himself takes a curated selection from his personal collection and talks about it and gives his ratings. I mean, it could be anything from DVDs to books, Laserdisc, VHS, whatever he's got back there. He'll pull it out and talk about it, give his ratings and all that. So that's always a good time over there. And that's only on patreon.com/AASpookShow every Tuesday where you can find that. We remind you that episode 76 of the podcast is out now. It just came out Monday. And it's our first annual Spook Show Awards special. We actually live streamed it here on the YouTube channel a couple weeks ago, but we figured we'd put it out on the proper podcast channel there. So it's, if you didn't catch it here on the YouTube, you can go over, wherever you get your podcast and listen to that now. That is out. And the next Monday, of course, it will be episode 77. And that is going to be our latest movie review. And it's the winner of our September Patreon poll, Hack-O-Lantern from 1980. Yeah, that's the one that we're going to be talking about. So a lot of fun to be had there, and our patrons vote. That's what they voted on. That's what they wanted us to watch. It was between that and Trick or Treats and The Midnight Hour, right, Smoke? I think it was. That was the third one.
Yeah, yep, that was the three.
But the people have spoken. The people has spoken, and it's going.
And for some reason, they chose Hack-O-Lantern.
Yeah, God help us all. Yeah, that's going to be next Monday, episode 77. That's coming out next Monday, October 11th at 6 p.m. East, wherever you normally get your podcast. That will be available to you. Unless you're a patron at the $5 and up level, you will get it early. We make no promises as to exactly how early you'll get it, but you will get it before, hopefully, if all goes well, you'll get it before the masses. So, it could be as soon as 4 or 5 days early or earlier in the day Monday, but you probably will get it early if you're at the $5 and up level over on Patreon. So go and check that out. So, Donnie, I guess I'll talk to you. What's the latest deadlines in horror news?
I don't know if I'd call this the latest, but it's kind of old news now because it occurred last week. It was after we recorded the Deadline Horror News live episode last week, but so the Friday the 13th domestic rights actually went back to the original screenwriter, Victor Miller. So this was a huge, we're all aware of the legal battle with Friday the 13th franchise. But this was a decision by the court that actually restored these, the domestic rights. Now, barring any, reversal by maybe a higher court, maybe up to the Supreme Court. I don't see the Supreme Court weighing in on the Friday the 13th franchise. I mean,
I would imagine if it got pushed up to the Supreme Court, they just push it back down.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't see it, but now there is actually some some additional implications from this. Has implications for Disney and Marvel. The same attorney that repped Victor Miller is also set to fight Disney over the Marvel characters. So that's definitely going to be something, to keep an eye on, as we.
It's a somewhat similar situation in that, like, this battle with Friday the 13th has been between the original writer of Friday the 13th, Victor Miller, right, and the director of the original Friday the 13th, Sean Cunningham.
Yep.
It's supposed to be like basically after so many years, the rights revert back to who wrote it or something, right? And then I guess they've been kind of going back and forth as to who that ownership should be. So, but yeah, it's very similar with Disney and Marvel in that like the original creators, I think the writers and the artists back in the 60s. So like the characters of Spider-Man and some of those original characters from the 60s might revert back to them, which would not be good for Disney. So, and Marvel.
Yeah, I can't imagine that being. And there's tons of behind the scenes deals that they got to work through before we even see Jason back on the screen. So yeah, it'll be.
Well, even if I would imagine, even if this is the end, like let's just say it doesn't appeal up to a higher court or whatever, and this is it, it would be at least a few years before you'd see anything. So it's
unless they already have things in the pipeline.
I doubt they're that ready to go. I would imagine that this has been they've been fighting this for so long that. Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll keep up with it here. That's definitely big news one way or the other. What do you think about it?
Yeah, definitely. We'll keep you posted with any developments. I mean, this is going to be all over the place. I'm sure.
Where do you lean with it, Smoke? From what you've heard about it?
No, it's pretty much just what we've discussed. Is all I've gone into it so far.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that'll be unfolding. It'll be on the minds of a lot of horror fans. So they haven't been able to release a lot of toys and whatnot since this has been going on. So
yeah, and they even had the video game that like was out and everything, and then they had to basically stop working on it. Like the version that's out there, that's it. Like they can't update it anymore. They can't touch it.
No. So a lot of horror fans will be watching this outcome with bated breath for sure.
And I mean, it's been 2009 since the last Jason movie, Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we're sitting at what 12? That's 12 years ago, right? So
that's wild, man.
Yeah,
time flies,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I seem to remember back in the day. I mean, even back in the 80s, they were talking about hitting that 13th movie mark. They haven't quite hit it yet.
Yeah, they kind of got frozen time.
Yeah.
I guess just moving on to the next headline. Bruce Campbell is going to be hosting the 46th annual Saturn Awards. And that's October 26th. It's going to take place in Los Angeles at the Marriott Burbank Airport Hotel. Yeah, I know, right? At a hotel. So, I've never seen the Saturn Awards. I've never seen it, and there's probably a good reason for that. They've only broadcast. Well, I say broadcast. They broadcasted it live in 1978. Before I was thought of, and then they live streamed it again in, I want to say it was 2019. I don't know why they didn't live stream it in between that time, but yeah, have either of you guys seen the Saturn Awards before?
No, I mean, I know of it, and we've mentioned it here on the show at various times. Like movies we've talked about that have been nominated or won Saturn Awards, but no, I've never watched it.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Saturn Awards show, but I have seen an awards show hosted by Bruce Campbell before. It was the first annual Chainsaw Awards in 1992 at the Fangoria Weekend of Horrors. He hosted it.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun. That was a good time. So I'm sure you'll do a great job at it. So.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that was.
It'll be entertaining.
You were there live for that?
Yeah, that was the first convention I ever went to. It was in L.A. at the Hyatt, Airport Hyatt in '92. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, I got more gray in my beard than you do, man. What the hell?
I don't know. I got quite a bit there.
Shit. But no, they're supposed to have some, you can go to, I think it's SaturnAwards.org for all the film categories. But yeah, they're supposed to have some special categories, I think. I don't really have that information. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. The Visionary Award to Mike Flanagan. Now, he's already going to receive this award. It's I guess, sort of like the Lifetime Achievement Award, or at the ESPYs, you see the Arthur Ashe Award, and you already know who's getting it. It's almost like the WWE draft. It doesn't really mean anything. Now, that sounds shitty. But no.
How dare you, sir?
Oh, I know, but yeah, no, that should be. And there's also the Dane Curtis Legacy Award, which is the legendary creator of Dark Shadows and Night Stalker, TV series. But that's going to go to Eric Wallace, who's the showrunner for The Flash on WB.
Yeah, WB is not even a thing anymore.
I guess that's accurate. Yeah,
but you would think, like, there's so many networks, there's so many streaming platforms and things now. Like, you would think one of them would want to show this live, just for content, if nothing else. Like,
dude,
point a camera at it and let it go. That's all
I looked for a streaming platform. I could not locate one, but I did notice a tweet from the Saturn Awards. What do you call it? The Saturn Awards account. Yeah. Saying, in 2019, they tweeted this, that they would, it was going to be on like their YouTube channel or whatever, stream live or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was like 2 years ago. I haven't seen shit for this year. So we're just doing it at a hotel, and you'll read about it in the paper.
You would think it would at least be on YouTube or Shudder, Sci-Fi. I mean, one of these things. Good Lord.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, for this to be such a celebrated event, it just seems like they're kind of behind the times on, these. But, you go to the website and you look at the founder and, all these other people who are, kind of over this. Fuck, man. Bunch of old heads. I mean, but yeah, that's probably disrespectful, but I mean,
found any other headlines there?
I guess we should move it along, huh? But yeah,
damn Saturn Awards, Dragon.
No, fucking Saturn Awards. No, yeah, it's so Hulu has their Huluween kind of stream. Well, it's like their horror hub.
Now scream.
Yeah, right. But no, there's a bite-sized Halloween short film series that it's back this year. It was new last year, but it's back this year for season 2. And so basically what this is a short film series, anything from horror comedy to psychological thrillers, basically everything you can think of. But it has 18 short horror films from 18 different filmmakers. So Bloody Disgusting, if you follow them, bloodydisgusting.com, they actually have a nice little guide on this series with film synopsis, and they have images on their website at bloodydisgusting.com. Say what?
No, I didn't say anything. I don't know. I think it was like some echo or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. But no, it's I checked a couple of them out, man. Yeah, I mean, there's one that is completely we covered Wolf Cop, or another Wolf Cop. We covered both of them, but one of them is called Appendage, and it's a fucking direct ripoff of Bad Willie from another Wolf Cop. It's shameless. Like if Bad Willie was a chick.
It's ripping off the premise for Wolf Cop 3, Bad Willie.
Yeah.
Bad Willie gets a girlfriend or something.
The longest movie in that series is 14 minutes. It's 14 minutes. I think the shortest one is like 2 minutes. There's some stinkers in there, but there's a good one. in there. At least like I've watched like 6 of them. My favorite so far is Pop It. But yeah, I think that's episode 2 in season 2. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the headlines.
Smoke, I guess before we get into the conventions and some of the other stuff, you actually you just came back from vacation, right?
Yeah, literally, like about an hour and a half ago, we just got back in from Orlando. And we're down there at Universal Studios. We saw, first time seeing or being there for Halloween Horror Nights. My wife and family went down. Both of us being huge horror fans. The thing's been going on 30 years. In fact, it was called 30 Years, 30 Fears for Halloween Horror Nights this year. And all those 30 years, neither of us have been down there for Halloween, even though we've gone to Universal Studios many times, just never during October or, during the Halloween Horror Nights. But yeah, this nifty shirt from there.
That's cool.
Yeah, they had a lot of cool houses. They had my favorite, probably, but not, I was going to say by far, but not necessarily by far, because they did have a lot of good ones. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre house was amazing. They had a Haunting of Hill House, Beetlejuice house. That was great. A lot of cool set pieces from that movie, like Dante's Inferno and the tombstone part with the Here Lies Beetlejuice. Like a whole bunch of cool scenes from the movie that they had reenacted in there. And of course, the guy in Universal that does Beetlejuice, there's a few of them, or at least a couple of them in this house, and they're always great. They were part of the not Halloween, but the special effects makeup show they have in Universal that's been going on since the park opened, I think. Mm-hmm. That guy that does Beetlejuice, there's the one that does it in the house, and I mean he's pretty amazing in that role. Then there was also some non-movie related ones. Probably the best one of the non-movie related was called Wicked Growth. It was just like you're inside of a pumpkin. So it's all very jack-o'-lantern, very, very traditional Halloweenish type set pieces in there. So that one kind of took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting much from that, just being called the Wicked Growth and not really being movie related or anything. Really great one. And they have one, the Icons, which is their Universal Studios has their own, like, I guess, icons of Halloween Horror Nights, like Jack the Clown. There's a whole bunch of them. I won't go through all of them here. But if you've never been to Halloween Horror Nights, I definitely recommend it. Get there at least once in your lifetime. You won't regret it. So we'll probably plan on going again next year.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
last year was COVID, so they didn't have much going on. I mean, they did have something going on for COVID. There was a little bit of COVID related things here. For this one, they had like inside the houses, they had the scare actors behind not plexiglass, but like plastic curtains, see-through curtains. So it wasn't too obtrusive, but I'm sure they couldn't do some of the things that they would normally be able to do outside of COVID, as far as like them just being loose in the house kind of thing.
Yeah, get up. They would. So, because I mean, in almost any haunted house, they can't touch you or grab you anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't have been able to do that here, but I'm sure they could come out from other places that would maybe scare you a little bit more, where you wouldn't quite as expect it as much. Because as soon as you walk in around some of those corners, you see the plastic thing here or there, so there's probably an actor behind that who's going to jump out at some point. So it was still a great experience, but I can see how without all that, it might be a little bit more scary for people, maybe, but still great. Nonetheless, better than the last year, because last year I think they did have hard plexiglass things between you and the scare actor, so it was very much not as good of an experience from what I hear last year as it was this year, at least.
Well, you can go down there. I think they do that out in the one in California too, right? Like you got the one in Orlando, the one in LA or wherever that's at. Yeah, so you got that going on throughout the month of October. But this weekend we've got, let's see, we found 3 separate things here. First off, we got. What do we got first, Donnie? Monsterama?
Yeah, Monsterama. And yeah, this will be right up your alley, Smoke. They got a Paul Naschy Film Festival.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so this is actually going on in Atlanta. And I didn't really see if they had like a virtual event or at all. I believe everything is live, but yeah, so that's if you're in the Georgia area or Atlanta area, come check this one out. If nothing else, for the Paul Naschy Film Festival.
Yeah, I see guests
most definitely. I can recommend that.
Elizabeth
the Paul Naschy Film Festival, I'd be in for it.
I see guests include Elizabeth Shepard, Clayton Landy, and Fred Olin Ray. Smoke, you talked about Fred Olin Ray on like one of your library
Yeah,
professor.
the library segment. Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. He directed that one on one that we did on the library.
That old chestnut.
Among 150 something other movies.
Yeah,
It was quite a bit.
Biohazard. From back in the days of video store renting, I remember the big box of the movie Biohazard. That was another sort of semi-favorite. Another one of those what I'd call crapster pieces.
So if you're in the Atlanta area, you got that one, and then up in New York, you've got the New York Comic-Con 2021 going on. That's actually starts tomorrow through Sunday, so it's 4 days. You can go to newyorkcomiccon.com for tickets and all the info and stuff. And guests include David Harbour from Stranger Things, Journey Smollett from Lovecraft Country, WWE superstar John Cena, tons of others. That's more of a broad strokes type of thing. It's more of a pop culture, than it is just horror related or anything like that. There's a little bit of everything going on there. Lots of AEW wrestlers and stuff like that. But if you're in the New York area, that's a big one. And I think they usually make a lot of announcements and stuff about future projects and comics and all that stuff at that. So that's always pretty big. Yep. And then there's a virtual event starting tomorrow through October 13th called Nightstream 2021. You can go to nightstream.org for information on that. I think this is basically kind of like an online film festival. This year's event is produced by the Boston Underground Film Festival, Brooklyn Horror Film Festival, North Bend Film Festival, and Overlook Film Festival. And I think the way it works is like you go on there and you buy like I guess like kind of like passes to watch like say 5 movies or 10 movies or something like that. And I guess it's all put on by these, virtually by all these different film festivals. So another cool thing going on for the, for about the next week or so, if any of that interests you. Box office report from this past weekend and this will be the weekend of October 1st to the 3rd. We'll go through the top 10, starting at number 10 in its first week, The Jesus Music. I don't know nothing about it. I haven't heard. But it's called The Jesus Music. There you go. Number 9, Shalmera Putt 3. I don't know.
Is this the U.S. box office?
It is. It's the United States domestic box office. It's also in its first week. It's number 9. Number 8, Jungle Cruise in its 10th week. Number 7, Candyman in its 6th week made $1.2 million for a total of $58.9 million so far. Number 6, Free Guy in its 8th week. Number 5, Dear Evan Hansen in its 2nd week. Number 4, The Many Saints of Newark. That's the Sopranos prequel movie that just, it's in its first week, and it's also on HBO Max. It made $4.6 million in its opening week. Number 3, so it finally fell off its perch from number 1 in its 5th week. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. $6.1 million for a total so far of $206.1 million. 5 weeks. So it's got to rank pretty high as far as pandemic numbers.
Yeah.
Number 2 in its opening week, The Addams Family Part 2 made $17.3 million in its opening week. And me and my family, actually, I took my family to go see that on Saturday afternoon. So if you like the first one, or if you're a fan of The Addams Family, I think you'll enjoy it. It's pretty good. And the big one this weekend, also in its first week, opened up Venom: Let There Be Carnage. It's the second Venom film. It made just slightly over $90 million here in the U.S. in its opening weekend. So once again, that has to be some type of pandemic record. Or hell, that can be like an October opening weekend record. I don't know. I didn't look any of that kind of stuff up, but that's a pretty solid, huge opening. So Venom: Let There Be Carnage is the king this past weekend.
Oh,
go ahead and throw up the old new release picture there, Donnie. We got a bunch of new releases this week. Just today on Netflix, we've got There's Someone Inside Your House. And then today on Shudder, also, we have VHS 94. I think that's like the 3rd or 4th of those VHS.
Yeah, I think it's a 4th.
Okay, yeah. And those are kind of like anthology type horror movies. So that's out on Shudder today. Friday, we've got Madres, The Manor. Those are both on Amazon. On video on demand, Friday, you've got The Secret of Cinchini. In limited release Friday, you've got Detention and Knocking. And Friday, the big theatrical release is Lamb. remember we watched the
We
trailer
did.
for that.
Yeah.
That movie looks batshit crazy. So that is what I'd like to watch just to see what the hell's going on with that. And
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, and then next Tuesday, October 12th, you've got Haul on video on demand, and then you've got Bad Candy coming out on DVD and Blu-ray, I guess. So those are your big releases. So lots going on here in the month of October, kind of kicking things off. And then one last thing before we check out, we've got the horror anniversary date. Today, October 6th, is the anniversary of the death of director Todd Browning. He passed October 6th, 1962. So, quick math. What was he, about 82 years old there? I think it was. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's about right. 82.
Where would the folks remember Todd Browning, Smoke?
Dracula, of course. He would be the director of Dracula, the director of Freaks, Devil Doll. So, definitely a lot of old school. Hell, he's been around since the silent era too. He directed quite a few silent films before the talkies. He was also a carnival barker. Like, he was a carnival barker, which is where he got the job, which is why Freaks looked the way it did, because he actually had some, actual circus freaks, is what they were. So he had an inside line, so to speak, on that type of thing, and he made quite a few movies set around circuses and carnivals, especially in the silent era. But yeah, Dracula would be the number one people would probably remember him for.
So we always like to mention the big, anniversaries and birthdays and stuff like that to keep the memory alive of some of the ones that kind of started the whole horror film genre and everything. So we always feel it's good to mention that when we see them. So I guess that's it for this week on Deadline Horror News Live. So like we mentioned off the top, come back here on the YouTube channel every Wednesday, at least through October. We're going to be doing these live. If not, they'll definitely be here on Thursdays. That's the day they're normally here. Monday at 6 p.m. Every Monday at 6 p.m. East, wherever you get your podcast. A new episode drops. Next Monday, we've got the September Patreon poll winner, Hack-O-Lantern from 1988. So come back for that. That's Monday, October 11th at 6 p.m. East. So for Will, who couldn't be with us, of course, for Donnie, Professor Smoke, I'm Josh. We are the All-American Spookshow Horror Podcast, and we will talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Later.